Cancer is a continuously growing global health problem that poses major challenges, most especially in developing countries. Find out how this international distributor of innovative health products came up with a series of solutions to help increase a patient's chance to survive the odds. In 2020, the Philippines hit a record of 354,398 prevalent cancer cases within a 5-year period. But because of poor access to health care, especially for people living below the poverty line, the advances and breakthroughs in cancer remain unattainable to many.
Cancer refers to a group of diseases that's characterized actually by cell growth, abnormal cell growth and proliferation, inflammation, as well as angiogenesis or formation of new blood vessels. It always starts with mutation in the genome or the genetic makeup of a person inside the cell. Before PPARs, most of my patients, they were unable to finish the chemotherapy regimens because of the side effects and because of discomfort during the process of chemotherapy.
Maria's son Dominic was diagnosed with stage 4 rhabdomyosarcoma when he was only 4 years old. While coping with the recovery of her other sick child, Maria found it hard to accept Dominic's condition.
It was actually very devastating kasi with Dominic, it was manifested mga 4 years old na siya eh. Unlike dun sa daughter ko na congenital talaga, baby pa lang. Yung mga bandang September, meron ng umuumbok-umbok dito sa leeg niya. Hindi ko talagang inisip na cancer kaagad siya until nag-nosebleed siya.
Dominic was prescribed chemotherapy, but his family insisted to rush to an integrative doctor to seek for alternative cure.
Medyo hesitant ako kasi as a mother, I know the side effects ng chemotherapy kasi. So what I did is that I rushed towards the integrative doctor of my daughter, who happened to be PPAR partner doctor of Simply Nature.
One of the hardest decisions to make for people living with cancer is choosing the kind of treatment that would work best. To help patients and their families deal with this growing health problem, one company commits to producing safe, credible, and natural health solutions by drawing on the latest bioscience technology to deliver a series of safe, efficient, and natural products. What is Simply Nature and what does it do?
Simply Nature is a company we created and founded about 10 years ago. Our mission is to find effective health solutions for people. So we provide natural products that work in combination with conventional therapy and medicine.
As an international company that provides natural solutions for cancer, metabolic syndrome, and degenerative diseases, the management upholds a health philosophy that centers on whole food nutrition as the frontier in health management.
When we talk about choosing treatment, especially in the area of cancer, patients are really afraid of chemotherapy because of its side effects, and they tend to then look towards natural products. But this is not a either conventional or natural choice. At Simply Nature, patients can have the best of both worlds. Our protocols work with conventional chemotherapy to minimize its side effects so that they can get the best treatment using both conventional and natural together.
Cancer is like a virus. It continuously evolves, it mutates, so it can develop defenses against our usual treatment modalities like chemotherapy.
Like I said, chemotherapy and radiation therapy have a lot of side effects. So more often than not, patients stop their treatment because of these side effects. It's very important to have the support.
With the supplements that we give the patients, there will be lesser side effects, so they will be able to finish their chemotherapy protocols more comfortably.
This company introduced PPARs, which is touted as one of the best natural ways of solving serious health problems.
PPARs stands for peroxisome proliferator activating receptors. It's basically a nuclear receptor found inside the cells. Now, when these receptors are activated, the benefit that you can get from that is, number one, cellular differentiation. Number two, it's to promote fatty acid metabolism. If you have better insulin function, your blood sugar will naturally go down. And another one is to induce cancer cell death by modulating the immune system.
As a sole distributor of PPARs, the company promotes its use to many reputable health institutions worldwide and actively organizes corporate health conferences and public health talks in Asia.
Simply Nature PPARs is made out of a special strain of these types of microalgae. It is very effective by protecting the bone marrow. We maintain the integrity of the immune system of the patient, which is very important to prevent infections and to fight off the cancer itself. And also, Simply Nature PPARs is also very dense in nutrients so that the patient can recover faster because of better cellular healing.
Sabi ko parang na-lead kami to an extraordinary and I must say amazing journey. I'm very proud of him. At a young age, na 8 years old, he believed that it's his purpose to siguro encourage other people then. We would like to really pay it forward with the knowledge that there's really like Simply Nature that can help people with cancer very much.
When fighting cancer, living healthy is very important because it allows us to pursue what is important to us in life, and that's what it's all about. When we can help a patient move from being bedridden to getting up, to be lucid in thought so that they can have conversations with their loved ones, it gives the whole process of fighting cancer a whole new meaning. And that is what drives us at Simply Nature.
But I really wanted to share yung point from ChildHaus. So 100 years from now, it will not matter what my bank account was, the sort of house I live in, or the kind of car I drove, but the world made the difference because I was important in the life of a child.
Good morning, everyone. We are from Simply Nature, and that is Tito Shen, and I'm Tita Jesslyn.
Hey, Poliana Jansen. Jesus loves me.
Jesus loves me.
For our gratitude, Mr. Shan.
Ito na ba ang mga sundalo ng Israelita? Maliit man ako sa iyong paningin, malaki ang aking Diyos. Tutulungan ako ng aking Diyos at lalabanan kita at tatalunin kita.
Nayanig ang paligid sa pagbagsak ng gulayan.
Pinupurit, sinasamba kita.
And Lord, we believe you for testimony from every child in this place. In Jesus' name we pray. And all God's people say, Amen! Hallelujah!
Nung 2022 po, yung parang inipon ko talagang pera pambili nung Simply Nature, nung vials, na PPARs. Yun po yung iniinom ko.
Cancer lang siya, strong tayo. Kaya patuloy lang po tayong lumaban kasi may Panginoon tayong gumagabay sa atin lagi. Yun lang.
And on behalf of the Simply Nature team, God bless you all. Maraming salamat for blessing us this day. We hope that we have made you all happy. God bless you once again. Here in Simply Nature, we are always with you from start to healing. Thank you, everybody.
CA markers. Mataas siya. Then, after 3 months, nung pag-take ko ng Simply Nature, doon, naging normal na siya until now. Kahit si Dr. Johan na gulat siya kasi biglang normal agad. In just 3 months, nag-normal agad yung CEA ko. 1 year and 5 months. Cancer-free. Dapat may food supplements kayo. Like Simply Nature na proven and tested ko na. Talagang hindi ako pwedeng mawala ng Simply Nature na yan.
2019, I was being diagnosed a cancer of my uterus. So I was shocked. Sabi ko, bakit nagkaroon ako ng ganito? Samantalang hindi ako mahilig sa pagkain. I'm sorry, basura. Started the tablet and then the powder. Tinry ko din yung yung tawag dito.
Gel?
Yeah, yung gel. Yes. It's really good. After 2 months ng aking therapy and taking PPARs, sabi ni doktora, magpa-laboratory ka na. So, nung nagpa-laboratory na ako, praise God, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, lahat normal. To God be the glory. Salamat sa Diyos. Sa 2 months ko po ng aking pag-take ng PPARs, ako po ay cancer-free.
Hi everybody, welcome to another very special episode of Simply Heal. With me today is Dr. Jansen.
Hello Sean, hello everyone, happy to be here again. And yeah, it's really true that we have a very
special episode.
Right
one that's
now.
close to our heart.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, both Dr. Jansen and myself, last year for our CSR, we went to ChildHaus. ChildHaus is an amazing organization, and we're very glad that today ChildHaus director will be here sharing about ChildHaus. And today's topic is about children's cancer. What is the best way to, what's the best options for treatment for children with cancer, and what is the best advice Dr. Jansen can give for children with cancer, especially for their parents to know. So Doc, why don't we jump into the topic? Children with cancer. Now, it's so easy to understand, right, that when we see an adult, we eat a lot of barbecue pork, we eat a lot of the wrong stuff, we're very stressed, and then we get cancer. It's like acceptable.
Yeah,
sort
because
of.
it's our own fault.
It's our own fault.
Cancer in the first place. So if you will blame somebody, it's yourself. I mean, as adults, we made the choices.
Yes, over the last 20 years, what we chose.
Correct. But for kids, it's
heartbreaking. And it's hard to understand how come they do get cancer.
Yeah, true. Well, of course, for kids, we know that our children are our future. And it's very difficult for a parent to see their future, or somebody that they're put all their hearts, all their lives working for, and see them suffer.
Yeah,
okay?
Especially their life haven't really even started, and already cancer is like a death sentence.
Yeah, and it's not even their fault.
It's not even their fault.
For children, about 5% of pediatric cancers are linked to genes. All right, so the number may seem small, but 95% of them, we don't even know the reason.
So up to today, obviously, we can't say lifestyle because the child is only 4 or 5 years old.
Correct.
So it's not lifestyle. So up to today, we don't really know what is the primary cause for pediatric cancer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, 5% of them, as I said, we can blame them on genetics. But to be honest, if you think about it, the 95% unknown causes a lot of them, I think majority of these cases would be blamed on genes as well, which is not really the kid's fault. I mean, the kid was born with these genes, right? So, yeah, it's really very difficult to fathom when this happens.
So that's why this episode is a very special one. We really look forward to Ms. Jeannette sharing about ChildHaus and what they are doing to make a difference to all these kids who are suffering from cancer, and like what Dr. Jansen has said so many times, not really their fault. But Dr. Jansen, when it comes to children with cancer, when we were at ChildHaus, the recovery rate was crazy. We were stunned.
Yeah, it was crazy, really.
Yeah, like 90% of the children make it,
Yes,
so overall, I do know that statistics for children with cancer is actually better than adults.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So what is the general survival rate for children with cancer? I mean, ballpark figure. And what are the modalities we use to treat children with cancer?
Yeah. So first, before I go into the survival rate, let's go for the treatment first, because the treatment, how we treat kids with cancer, have a big influence on their survival. Okay?
And the most common cancer that children have are?
One of them would be leukemia, lymphoma, and brain or other central nervous system tumors. Okay, so usually kids with cancer would fall into one of these three categories most of the time.
All right.
Okay. So
actually, I think I meet a lot of children with leukemia.
Yeah, true. Actually, leukemia, with ChildHaus, I think majority of their patients are kids with leukemia.
Wow. That's, I guess, part of the reason, because they're developing and they're growing. So maybe that's why. But back to the modalities of treatment.
So how do we approach kids with cancer? So there are a number of ways. So if the tumor is solid, then surgery will always be one of the main treatment procedures. So we outright remove the tumor. And usually when we excise the tumor, kids really grow well enough. They really survive pretty good. Okay. Next would be chemotherapy. Okay, for those cases wherein the tumor is too extensive, too large, or for blood malignancies, chemotherapy would be the mainstay. However, the main difference between the chemotherapy between adults and kids would be, for kids, the chemotherapy, or the number of sessions for chemotherapy would be more, in terms of the number of cycles. Okay, so usually kids with cancer would range about 35 cycles.
35 cycles.
Yeah.
Normally for adults, we hear anywhere from 8 to
Yeah,
12.
12 is the
Already
most-
high on the high side.
It's already the most number of cycles that I've heard of. Okay,
So
for
a kid goes has 3 times. Doc, I remember you were sharing about why kids have higher frequency of chemotherapy, because when cancer grows in a kid, because the kid is also growing very fast, their cancer also grows very fast.
Yeah, usually it is. Usually
Because
it
of
is.
the growth stage
Yeah,
of the
because
kid.
of the growth hormones that the kid has. Yeah, especially when they go into puberty.
Is
Yeah,
that the reason why they end up with more chemotherapy sessions, or are there other reasons?
There are other reasons, no, but this one.
Okay, it is one of the reasons.
So usually why they undergo more chemotherapy sessions is because it's the only thing that we have to treat them. So we have limited options. Why? It's because childhood cancers are relatively rare. So if it's relatively rare, relatively uncommon, the studies behind them are really much uncommon, or the number of studies that we have are limited. Okay, so
that means the drugs available for the treatment of kids is also less. Do they use the same chemotherapy drugs as adults?
Yes, they use the same but different doses.
But different
However,
doses.
because of the sheer number of cycles that they undergo, more side effects can occur for the kids. However, the beauty here is kids compared to adults, kids can cope better
Have
with the side
stronger
effects.
recovery
Yes,
rates.
yes. Compared to adults. Okay.
Doc, you mentioned that for kids, they go for 35 over chemotherapy sessions, and usually it's combined with radiation therapy as well. So it does seem that they will be in a prolonged period of under treatment. It would be almost like an entire year spent every other week going to the hospital to receive the chemotherapy. So it would seem that for kids, what is the most important part of their cancer journey that will make a difference to their recovery?
Yeah, it's very important that we are able to support them with their treatment, because there are a lot of cancers that if you stop the treatment early on, usually kids relapse. And that is really heartbreaking, because
you thought you already successful.
Successful, and then once you stop the treatment, here it comes back again, and sometimes the treatments don't work anymore. So it's really very important that we give them the support that they need, no, in terms of treatment of symptoms, of the side effects of the chemotherapy. We help them or give them the appropriate treatment so that they can feel better, they can stay stronger and cope better with their present situation. So how do we go about this? Okay, so there are a number of goals that we can target. So number one would be their physical health. Obviously, okay?
Yes.
They're undergoing the chemo with all the side effects.
Yes.
Physical health would be very important. So there are a number of ways: nutrition, physical activity, supplementation. So all 3 should be there. Okay? Social. Okay?
Yes, this is one that we
Very
really
important.
eye-opener. I remember at ChildHaus, there was this girl with a tumor that became like a goiter, so huge, and but she was so confident and sassy. She was doing a
really
sassy dance.
Yeah, she was really happy.
And she's happy.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to Janet and Mother Reyes, who founded ChildHaus, and his answer was, everybody in that, I guess, at ChildHaus are cancer patients. So everywhere they look, everybody's bald because everybody shaved their head. Everybody has some sort of tumor or another. The kids don't get bullied. They also don't realize they're sick because they don't look different from anyone.
Yes, that's correct. Because when you look at their peers, though, the kids that they play with, they're all the same.
Yeah, and nobody shuns that. Nobody's like, hey, what's wrong with you?
Yes.
So because emotional, if you're negative, if you're depressed, cancer, that's terrible for your cancer. Right? So yeah, that was really an eye-opener. And so you were going to say social.
Yeah, social, and of course that have a direct impact on their psychological health, their mental well-being, and how they, on their self-esteem. No? So another very important is their spiritual health. Okay, so it's very important that we always have faith that, especially with God. Okay, so no one can beat God in terms of His healing powers.
Capacity.
Okay, even as doctors, we're only human, and we are limited in our capacity to heal people. And we only rely on what we read, and of course on what we learn from other healthcare professionals, who are also human, by the way.
Yes.
So it's really your faith in God at the end of the day, which is going to be the one that would have a bigger impact on your life. No, so all of this, that we've mentioned, the goals, so the physical health, the social, psychological, spiritual health, ChildHaus have built for patients with cancer, and especially for kids. Okay.
But before we introduce Janet, I just also wanted to share that Simply Nature works with ChildHaus, and we actually sponsor ChildHaus kids. And Dr. Jansen made a pledge that one day he'll send a ChildHaus kid to med school, offer a scholarship to do that. So we have it taped down. Now you can't run away from this. All right. So we got a few years to prepare for that. But however, another thing I wanted to add was that our regular host on Simply Healed, Sheila's son Dominic is a cancer victor. Today, I think on the day of this taping, he just had his tracheal reduced. On the way to full recovery. He's already clear of cancer cells. He went through like 30, almost 40 sessions of chemotherapy and radiation therapy, and he actually had liquid PPARs 1 a day for an entire year.
Wow.
All right, and he suffered no side effects, very little. And I had a conversation, Doc, with Don, which is Dominic's father. I did ask him, how many of the kids that Dominic went through chemotherapy with did he see still around? So he doesn't have a fixed statistics, obviously, but he said, just by gut feel, it's like half of them he didn't see anymore. So it's really very important that you support your child through their chemotherapy, keeping them strong, protecting their bone marrow, protecting everything that's important to them, their organs, because they are still growing. You don't want to just beat cancer and then have problems, right? If the organs are damaged, because they're still young, they will live with that body for the next 60, 70 years. So it's so important to help kids undergoing treatment to stay strong and be healthy. And without further ado, let's introduce the director of ChildHaus, Ms. Jeannette.
I'm Jeannette Cu from ChildHaus Manila in QC, and I'm the director for almost 6 years. Okay, ChildHaus stands for Center for Health Improvement and Life Development, a halfway house used to shelter underprivileged patients coming from far-flung provinces who do not have relative or place to stay in Metro Manila while undergoing treatment and evaluation in our government hospital. ChildHaus was installed and inaugurated on October 28, 2003 by President Gloria Arroyo and become operational in January of 2004. Initially, ChildHaus was proposed to serve only children and young adults with cancer or other dreaded diseases. However, due to frequent requests from affiliated hospitals and local government units, it has been open to accommodate adults with similar medical condition. Presently, the ChildHaus has 2 branches. One is located at 90 Agoncillo Street, Paco, Manila, and the other one is located at QC, 90 Mapangakit Street, Iliman, Quezon City. This is Mother Ricky. Mother Ricky is the founder of ChildHaus, and then one of the benefactor here is the late Mr. Henry C. And now it is really Mr. and Mrs. Hansi and his family is one also the benefactor of ChildHaus. So Mother Ricky really did a point for everybody. So it says that 100 years from now, it will not matter what my bank account was, the sort of house I live in, or the kind of car I drove, but the world may be different because I was important in the life of a child. So that is the poem of ChildHaus for everybody. Why I joined ChildHaus? I'm still studying in CEU. I went to PGH, my practicum. I saw many children in the corridors. For almost 1 week, 2 weeks, I said one day, if I have money, this will be my advocacy. That's why I'm here in ChildHaus, to help all the cancer patients. That's why I accepted the role as the director, but it's really very challenging, but I'm happy serving and helping the sick people. ChildHaus, in my own words, my life. Because I know life of children is really so tough because they don't want to feel like they are sick, but they cannot complain. But I know God is with them. For all the viewers, mother, and with the cancer patient, I really wanted to tell you that cancer is just infection. So what we need is really, we have to have a diet, like the lifestyle, that we have to be careful in what we are doing, proper sleep, proper diet, and of course, vitamins. And then, number one is we really have to pray because nothing is possible if we have God. Number one is the financial, so we can do everything. Now we all need ng mga patient. I really think is the facilities. We really need to have more space and then maybe another building for QC so that we can accommodate more patients with cancer, children and adults. I keep asking the Lord to help me and bless me so that I can ask more help from other benefactors so that I can really push through what I really wanted to ChildHaus. I was really very surprised because Brother Sean and Sister Justin they offer me, they wanted to come to ChildHaus and they want to see what is ChildHaus all about. So I was surprised when Brother Sean told me that they will give me 5 years medical supply for my 3 patients. So I have 3 patients, namely Jared, Copro, and Jessa Malate, and then Ronalyn. So I was really so blessed because I know that your product is really very expensive, but I know the heart of Sister Jocelyn and Brother Sean that they really wanted to help my ChildHaus. So I really want to thank Brother Sean and Sister Jocelyn for your generosity, and you are really the blessing to ChildHaus. To all the viewers, I'm here to knock your door. If you have extra money that you really wanted to help ChildHaus, simple, I have an account number for ChildHaus, and then just deposit it to China Bank, and then I just flash it to the screen so that you can see our bank account, and then you can also reach me, Jeannette Cu, and I also will flash my number to the screen so that you can call me anytime if you want to really help ChildHaus. Hi, I'm Jeannette Cu, the Director of ChildHaus Manila and QC, and I trust Simply Nature.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sheila, and you are watching another episode of Simply Healed webinar brought to you by Simply Nature, your long-time running healthcare awareness webinar here in social media. Tonight's topic is entitled Better Health or Better Access to Cancer Care for Children and Adolescents. This topic is very close to my heart to have witnessed the cancer battle of my own son. So I'm very sure that you have a lot of questions in mind. So to answer our questions, I'd like to call on our PPAR's
doctor, and of course, lifestyle medicine doctor, Dr. Jansen Calalan. Good evening, Dr. Jansen.
Hello, Sheila. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Happy
Good evening,
to
Doc.
be here.
Doc.
Okay.
Yes, Doc, tonight's episode is very special because this is in line with the Childhood Cancer Awareness Campaign yesterday, all right? And this event is in collaboration with the ChildHaus Foundation here in the Philippines. And to share some of her experiences witnessing the cancer battles of many kids, I'd like to call on the director of the ChildHaus Foundation, who is also a member of the Rotary Club Pearl of the Orient District 3780, Miss Jeannette Cu. Good evening, Miss Jeannette.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Dr. Jansen.
Hi.
And I want to acknowledge all the members and the viewers that it's my pleasure to be part of your webinar.
Thank you. Thank you for attending and joining our webinar tonight as well, Miss Jeannette. I hope we are actually hoping for Sir Sean to still join us, but he's had other commitments for tonight. Okay. All right. So for our viewers, of course, questions are very much welcome. May it be related, of course, to cancer and also for childhood-related questions. Don't worry, guys, because Miss Jeannette is also going to be standing by to answer your questions as well. Okay? All right. So first off, to start off our question and answer tonight, coming from Miss De La Cruz Litatan, what kinds of medicine can a cancer patient or disability patient be solved? Dr. Jansen?
I don't understand the question. Okay. Can you repeat it
You might
again?
want to be more specific if you have if you have the diagnosis of your patient, Miss Lita Tan de la Cruz. Okay, maybe we can go on first with the other questions that were thrown privately to our messenger. Right, coming from Miss Barbara. Doc, what are the long-term side effects or late effects of cancer childhood?
Okay. Of course, if you don't have your kid, if you leave your kid untreated, right? So eventually, your kid can die from cancer. Okay, there are a lot of complications, no, and bad ones at that, no, if you leave your kid untreated. So, a while ago, we've shown, no, the children with cancer actually have a very good prognosis if they get treated. Okay, but if not, then of course they can die. They can die. You know, and one of the challenges of getting treated is of course these are kids. No, so aside from financial challenges, there will be a lot of challenges in terms of physical care, mental health care. Social support, and you've seen ChildHaus can actually give the kid all of these things. No, aside, of course, us medical doctors, we are the ones who's going to be taking care of the kid in terms of their medical health, no, their physical health. But that's just a part of a big of the kid's life, right? So the other parts would, I've seen how ChildHaus take care of their patients, and they are really wonderful and so very successful at that, no, in taking care of children with cancer. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Jansen.
Thank you.
Having said that, I'd like to actually ask Miss Jeannette, what could you give us, like perhaps the 3 things that are in a way staple in terms of taking care of your kids in ChildHaus? Why are they getting a very good high rate of remission or being cancer-free in ChildHaus?
Maybe number 1 is the diet. We really have to focus on the proper diet. And then number 2 is the cleanliness of the whole surrounding. And number 3, of course, inside and out, we have to have God. We have to be praised so that stress-free. So that we will have a healthy diet, so stress-free.
Thank you. It's not only physical, also spiritual, also the
Yes,
environment.
spiritual, God.
I agree. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Dylan. Thank you, Mr. Sean. Oh my God. Thank you, Miss Jeannette. Okay, another question coming from Miss Lilibeth, of the Philippines, and of course, Miss Lilibeth of Malaysia. Thank you once again for being with us tonight, our regular viewers. Okay, what cancer? Ano ang mga cancer na kadalasan na tumatama sa mga bata? What cancers or what kinds of cancers are usually diagnosed to children?
Okay, usually these types of cancer are quite rare, no? But some of the common ones are the cancers that we've just discussed, no? So like acute leukemia. Yeah, actually, it's one of the more common ones, right, Ma'am Jeannette, in ChildHaus?
Leukemia.
It's always leukemia.
Yes, always leukemia.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a recurring thing. But aside from leukemia, the less common ones would be like your hepatoblastoma, your osteosarcoma, those things. And most of the time, it's sarcoma. I think Sheila, Dominic's, your son's case is rhabdomyosarcoma, right? Located in the nasopharynx. So yeah, actually Dominic's case is one of the rarer ones as well. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very, I could say I'm very, very blessed to have known and crossed over Simply Nature even before the treatment, even before we started the treatment. So I'm sure, you know what, Miss Jeannette, a lot of our viewers are actually surprised that we encourage patients to go through conventional if their oncologist suggests them to go for chemo and radiation. So just like what Dr. Jansen is also suggesting. All right, another question. Oh, Miss Jeannette, this question is for you. Miss Jeannette, what ages are common in of children in ChildHaus?
Usually ages between 5, but we still some is only months, but usually 5 years old and above.
All right, thank you, Miss Jeannette. Okay, another question coming from Miss Cecilia. Oh, can a newborn screening detect cancer?
Oh, okay, very good question. Unfortunately, the newborn screening cannot.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, it cannot. The newborn screening that the hospitals do, which is mandated by the government, no, is tests only or screens for the more common illnesses that happens, the congenital illnesses. Okay, it screens for those things. Cancer is very uncommon in kids, so that's why it is not part. And you know, even if we do screen for cancer as a kid, no, in children, it's quite expensive, so that's why it's not included. So although if you want your kid to undergo screening, it can be done, okay, but yeah, the expenses would be quite high. The diagnostic tests that would be required of the kid, okay. Yeah.
Just a follow-up question, Doc. So does that mean that, for example, if the family has a background of cancer, what would be the best age of the kid to go through this diagnostics if the budget is not an issue?
Actually, it's as early as when the kid is born, and the screening that you need to do are mainly genetic testing. Yeah, mainly genetic testing, because if a kid is born with cancer, usually it already manifests as early as when the kid is just an infant. Okay, you already have signs. Then yeah, my youngest was, how old was Gian? First time I saw Gian, 36 weeks old. The youngest cancer patient that I have. Now she's already almost 2 years old. Wow, how time flies. Yeah. So it can manifest as early as 36 weeks. 3-month-old. So yeah. How did they know? Through ultrasound. Yeah, so the kid's stomach is getting bigger and bigger, so they did an ultrasound. So yeah, that's the time they saw a tumor on the kid's liver. Okay, so of course upon further testing, that is when they found that it was really hepatoblastoma. Yeah, so that's how you diagnose when these things happen to children. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Doc. Great. Another question. Is there any difference between the cancer treatment between childhood cancer and adult cancer?
Yes, there are, because well, mainly the difference is mainly the type of cancer, no? Still the type of cancer and the age, no? Usually for adults, adults can tolerate chemotherapy better than kids. For kids, they typically, here's the thing, no? Childhood cancers are so rare, so the treatment options that we have are also limited. That's why the treatment used for adults is also being used for kids. The main difference there would be the number of sessions and the duration of the treatment. So usually for leukemia, no, it's a very tedious it's a very tedious journey, because the number of the duration of the treatment is quite long. The number of cycles of chemotherapy is also numerous. So yeah, but mainly the drugs that the oncologists use for leukemia would be the same as the ones that they use for adults. Although leukemia in adults is rare, it's much rare than leukemia in kids. Okay, so yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Doc. I just have a quick question to Ms. Jen. I'm sure there are some adults who also stay in ChildHaus, correct, Ms. Jeannette?
Yes, yes.
And you just curious if you notice any evident difference in terms of their reaction to their treatment.
Before we used to have only children, a child. But after certain years, we discovered that more adults are also cancer, like in ovary. So usually they experience always so stressful, because they really cannot handle, because they always tell me that why me. So, and then if they know that they knew that they have cancer, they don't want to fight anymore. But because I'm here pushing them that no, we have God that really will help us, so we have to fight. For example, Jessa is now maybe finished for the operation. It's really want to thank Simply Nature, because Jessa is now, after the operation, because of Simply Nature, Jessa, the immune system is really very good. So I know that with God's help, Jessa's operation will be successful.
Thank you for sharing that, Ms. Jeannette. And prayers, our hearts and prayers goes out to you, Ms. Jessa, for your successful operation.
Oh, amen.
Thank you, Ms. Jeannette. Thank you, Doc Jansen. Another question. Okay. Is it possible, Doc, for a kid to be cleared from cancer even without undergoing chemo or radiation? Is that possible?
No, very difficult, no? Although it depends on what kind of cancer. If it's leukemia, no. Because leukemia, the root cause of leukemia is genetic. And usually, the reason why kids develop cancer is because of their genes. They have an erroneous gene. So the genes cannot be just turned on and off just like that, no? Because these are kids, okay? They have, in order to influence genes, in order to turn on some genes and turn off some genes, you need to live for a sufficient period of time. Usually it's years, no? But for kids like leukemia, kids with leukemia, 5-year-old kid, no? Usually they have a genetic defect, that's why they develop this cancer. So more often than not, if children with cancer, no, they would have to get treated through the conventional means, no. Natural treatment, yes, they have a role in terms of nutrition, quality of life, but in order to really kill the cancer cells, you have to use both chemotherapy, immunotherapy, radiation therapy, together with the natural treatments. Okay, that is in order for you to get the best outcome.
Thank you, Doc. I totally agree. I was one of those patients or parents before
we didn't really wanted my kid to undergo those treatments, but I was really told to have to do it. Otherwise, it would be really, really tough. Okay, thank you, Dr. Jansen. Okay, another question. Okay, this is from Miss Jeannette, coming from Miss Carmelita. What advice do you have for parents whose child has been diagnosed with cancer recently?
Oh, I always tell all the parents that they have to be strong. They have to be patient. They have to really pray, because God, nothing is impossible if you have God. And then proper diet. That is always my advice to all the parents in ChildHaus.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Jeannette. Right, another question coming from Miss Evangelina. Does formula milk increase bone cancer risk?
No. Formula milk depends on what source, no? Because there are two kinds of formula milks nowadays. There is the typical one, yung dairy, cow's milk, and there is another one that is plant-based. Personally, I prefer the plant-based milk because the dairy formula milk causes a lot of problems, but mostly digestive. It doesn't increase the risk for bone cancer. Okay, so the main reason why kids develop bone cancer is still genetic. Okay, the reason is still genetic. But anything from lifestyle, not really. Yeah, not really. So, yeah. For the dairy formula milk, okay, what are the detrimental effects of feeding your kids formula milk, okay, which is dairy, sourced from dairy? Number one, digestive problems. So they can develop diarrhea, constipation. Number two, allergies. So a lot of kids develop asthma, skin asthma, no, because dairy increases your body sensitivity to allergic reactions. So meaning, when you develop allergic reactions, the allergic reaction is worse than normal. Okay. So another one would be, this one is for teens, no? Another one would be pimples, okay? So dairy can, all right? What else? Okay, this had been implicated in a lot of researches already, no? Type 1 diabetes, okay? So type 1 diabetes is the kid is not producing insulin anymore because the pancreas, the insulin producing cells of the pancreas was destroyed, okay? The reason why it was destroyed is because of a bacteria found in dairy. Okay, this bacteria survives pasteurization, and it is also heat resistant. So meaning it doesn't die when you steam or when you boil the milk. Okay, and when the kid, okay, drinks the milk, okay, so the kid also takes in the bacteria. Now, the bacteria has a similar molecular structure or similar structure with the cells inside the pancreas that's producing the cells. So now, the immune system of the kid will attack the bacteria, and since they have the similar structures, your immune system will think that these insulin-producing cells is also an invader. So your immune system will also attack the hosts or the kids' insulin-producing cells. So when that happens, the cells die. Your kid produces type 1 diabetes. Okay, so this is actually relatively recent research that came out. Okay, so those are lesson of the story. Please avoid feeding your kids formula milk that is sourced from dairy. Number one source of milk would still be breast milk, okay, up to 2 years. Then that's it. Beyond 2 years, your kids do not need milk anymore. If you want to feed your kids milk, then source it from plant-based milks like your soy milk, almond milk, and oat milks.
Thank you, Doc. And this goes as well to adults, right?
Yes. Also the same, because adults naman, a lot of Asians actually are lactose intolerant. So see, and even adults, Like me, when I eat milk chocolates, or by mistake I ate chocolate, sometimes I get sometimes there's some pimples coming out of my face. So it happens. I mean, yeah, even in adults, even others, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of our viewers also can relate to this.
Thank you, Doc. Do you also experience or witness those kinds of reactions as well, Miss Jeannette, in ChildHaus?
Yes, yes. Me myself, I'm a milk intolerant. I cannot drink milk because really, I have to go back and forth to the restroom. So I just drink soy milk.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Miss Jeannette. Okay, another question. Okay. I have a question here. Okay, coming from Miss Evelyn Fernandez. Good evening, Doc. What to do with children 1-year-old with low RBC and hemoglobin?
Okay, number one tip, nutrition immediately. So usually kids with anemia, usually one of the reasons would be malnutrition, no? So however, of course, I need more context here, no? So why is your kid anemic in the first place? Okay, so I suggest for you to go for a consult so I can give better recommendations. But here, no, from just to give some value, I've learned in one of the conferences, there's this one pediatrician who fed carrot juice to a patient of hers in the ICU that is suffering from anemia. So since your kid would, you would feed your kid, di ba? Kakain naman din siya. Your kid will eat anyway, so might as well feed him something that is high in beta-carotene, high in iron, highly nutritious. So you can try carrot juice. You can feed your kid green leafy vegetables, but of course green leafy vegetables that are mashed already or cut into very small pieces, so your kid can chew easily. Okay, so that's one of the tips. But just to give a proper recommendation to really treat your kid of this anemia, no, I suggest for you to go for a consult so I can give the proper recommendation. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Doc. For those who wish to have a consult with Doc Jansen and Calalan, the link for you to schedule first talk with his pretty secretary, Miss Beth Palma, is in the description link. Okay. All right. So another question coming from Miss Gloria: if my child is receiving radiation therapy, can he still play with other kids?
Yes, of course. Why not? As long as he is energetic enough and he is not feeling any pain. So, yeah. Ma'am Janet, I'm sure there are a lot of kids in ChildHaus who's receiving radiation therapy who are still active, right?
Yes. They're very active.
Yeah.
And then they like to eat after the radiation. They still like to eat and play.
That's very uncommon, right? It's the environment in ChildHaus is really different because, right?
Yeah, but I think this is where a ChildHaus can. This is the value of ChildHaus, no? Because see here, radiation therapy. One of the side effects is fatigue. However, in order to mitigate fatigue, you have to be very physically active. And kids, being kids, they will play around. So, since they are physically active in the first place, because they are also around with other kids, no, inside ChildHaus, playing with each other. So, and since they are playing, their emotions are very positive, very happy. So, they would be able to tolerate the side effects of radiation therapy more. Okay, and with exercise, with the added physical activities, their body can recover much faster. This is where you have to realize, to my patients there and to our viewers who have cancer, who are undergoing radiation therapy, who are just too fatigued or too lazy to exercise or to move because they are fatigued already because of the radiation. Do not let a kid beat you, okay? In terms of exercise. Okay? If a kid can do it, you can also do it as well, right? So that's my take on it.
It's a great tip, yeah. And now I understand the difference why adults are quite really low energy after the treatment compared to kids, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Ma'am Jeanette. All right, another question coming from Ms. Diana. How high is the chance of the twin of my child to have cancer too?
Depends. Depends if if the family history, if your family have very prevalent yung cancer, or there are a lot of members in your family who have cancer. So I'll give you an example, no? Breast cancer, BRCA mutation. So if someone in your family has breast cancer, then most likely the offsprings, one of them would have breast cancer as well. And if it is BRCA mutation, then at least one member of each generation might have cancer. Okay? So yeah, if you have a twin, then maybe one generation up, no, somebody there have cancer, then of course, your kid might have cancer as well. And if you have twins, they would receive almost equivalent risk of developing cancer, no, on the get-go, just because they inherited that gene. Okay.
Thank you, Doc. Right. Another question coming from Ms. Lita. Can a diabetic patient endure chemotherapy treatment?
Yes, but it would be difficult. Yeah. Ma'am Jeannette, do you have because ChildHaus not only have children with cancer, I think you also have adult patients. Yeah, have adults as well, no? Do you have any adults who have diabetes and have cancer as well?
We never encounter any patient with diabetic.
Yeah, okay. But diabetic patients, depending on how bad your diabetes is, you might have some difficulty in coping up with the chemotherapy treatment, no? So very important to manage your diabetes. Very important to have a very good blood sugar control. Okay, so when you undergo chemotherapy, you'd be able to cope much better. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Doc. Alright, another question coming from Ms. Lita. Doc, what would be your advice to cancer patients in terms of what to eat and not to eat?
What to eat and not to eat. Okay. Okay, there are a lot of foods that you can eat and there are a lot of foods that you should not eat. But here's a general advice, no? So you should eat. You should focus your diet on foods that is sourced from plants. So fruits, vegetables, beans, nuts, seeds, whole grains. What you should be avoiding are foods sourced from animals. Okay, so that would be your pork, beef, chicken, fish, eggs, dairy. Also processed foods, okay, because processed foods have a lot of chemicals. That's really unhealthy, no, not just for cancer, but it can also, processed foods can increase your risk of developing other diseases, no, like your heart disease, your diabetes, etc. Okay, so but that is the simplest way to put it. So eat anything sourced from plants, avoid anything that is sourced from animals. Okay. Yeah.
And also sweets, Dr. Jansen, avoid sweets.
Oh, yes, sweets. So, juice, pastries, your chips, yeah, French fries, chocolate, yeah. Avoid those foods, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Jansen. Thank you, Ms. Jeannette. Alright, another question. Okay. Doc, what can you say about fruit wines? Are they good for cancer patients?
Wine is not good. Any sort of alcoholic drink is not good because alcohol is carcinogenic. Why would you give a cancer patient something that is carcinogenic? Okay, so you're bringing harm to the patient. Okay, so any alcoholic drinks, no matter how small the alcohol content should be zero. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Doc. Another question. What is the best way to avoid recurrence? They already won the cancer. What is the best way to avoid recurrence?
Okay. General advice again. Okay, but I need to have a better context here. General advice: proper nutrition, still plant-based diet. Number 2, physical activity. You have to have regular physical activity. How much? Very technical term, but it's 15 MET hours per week. Okay, what is 15 MET hours per week? It's a exercise plan. Okay, so to get, you might be interested in getting yourself an exercise plan. So you can go for a consult. So I can give you one, no, that is tailored fit for whatever for your taste. Okay, but those are the top two. All right, number 3 would be sleep, and the other ones would be positive mindset, not be stressed. Okay, those things. Okay, those would reduce your risk of recurrence. Okay.
Thank you, Doc. Miss Jeannette, in ChildHaus, do you also conduct like Zumba for the kids?
Yeah, we have Zumba. Yes, we have Zumba, and then we have karaoke. So they have to be active. So they have to do something so that they don't feel that they are really have cancer. Diba? So I always tell them to dance, to sing, and then we also have Bible study. Sometimes twice a week, but definitely we have once a week.
Thank you, sir. The activities are really cater to all aspects, right? Not only physical. Thank you. All right, another question comes from Miss Miss Sher. Are fresh fruit juices okay with patients who have cancer? I think this is in line with the other one with wines.
With wines, yeah. Okay, there are differences here, no? There is a difference between juices and smoothies. Okay, when we say juicing, no, or juices, it's so imagine an orange. Okay, so you slice the orange in half. So what do? You squeeze the orange. So what is left is the liquid and the orange itself with the pulp, no, minus the liquid. Okay, so the liquid is juice. Okay, so when we talk about juice, that is pure liquid. Okay, liquid of whatever fruit that is. Okay, my stand here, no, is cancer patients should avoid drinking too much fruit juices, because the fruit juice can spike up your blood sugar. When your blood sugar spikes up, your insulin spikes up. If your body produces too much insulin, that can make the cancer grow. Okay? So, what is the alternative here? That would be your smoothies. Because if you drink a smoothie, no, so what happens is, so imagine the orange again. So, the orange, you don't slice it in half. You peel the orange, and then you put the entire thing, no, minus the peel, into the blender and you mix it. So, the fruit there is intact. Okay? The fiber is intact. You drink the fiber, everything in it. Okay? So, if your meals are very high in fiber content, then the blood sugar spike would be so high. Would not be so high. So, if the blood sugar does not increase so much, then your insulin will not be increasing so much as well. So, if there is controlled increase in insulin, then that won't make or that won't stimulate the growth of the cancer. Okay? So, yeah, be careful about that, no? And especially when you drink liquids, no? So, patients who are already unable to eat solid foods, you are fed through NGT, or you can only tolerate liquid diet. Okay? Very important, you consume your drink as if you are eating it so in solid form. Yes. So drink it slowly. Okay, so don't drink it all at once, all in one go. Okay, because if you drink it all in one go, same thing will happen. Blood sugar spike, insulin spike, etc. So, in short, enjoy your drink. Okay,
in moderation.
In moderation, drink it slowly. Okay.
A very good tip. Yeah. I'm guilty with that. I drink because it's a juice. I have to drink it really, really quick. So I have to. So now I have to drink it slowly. Okay. Thank you, Doc. Another question. Have you observed changes in personality after blood transfusion? Coming from Miss Imelda. Is that possible, Doc?
Change in personality after blood transfusion. It's not a typical reaction, but I'm thinking if it's medically possible. Would it be possible after blood transfusion there's a change in behavior? Well, it's painful. But
how about you, Miss Jeannette? Have you observed any in your patients in ChildHaus?
It's irritable. all the patients are irritable and then weak.
Yeah.
They feel like sleepy. They're tired.
Yep. Yeah, but change in personality.
But I don't think
so. I don't think so. But
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
it's painful. So patient can be irritable. Yeah, mostly irritable. Sometimes irate. I think. Yeah, but that's it.
Thank you po. Thank you, Doc Jansen. Thank you. I think perhaps this will be our last question. Okay. What is your, I think this is for Miss Jeannette. What is your best tip for patients or parents as well for kids who have cancer? Miss Jeannette.
Number one is we have to love the patient with cancer because they don't want that to happen to us. But we have to love them and care for them, and we have to be really patient in taking care of our loved ones. And then we have to continue praying and keep talking to them so that they will know that we are here to support them. That is all I can say. Then we have to keep praying, pray for each other so that they will feel good and to boost their morale.
Thank you, Ms. Jeannette. I think I'd like to also ask this as perhaps our quick parting words to our viewers tonight, to Doc Jansen as well. What would be your best tip to give the patients and parents out there who are undergoing and battling cancer right now?
Okay, number one is you have to be really strong, I guess. Yeah, and of course, don't be afraid to ask help if you need, because sometimes parents tend to shoulder everything on their on their shoulders. Oh, so yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help. I mean, we are here. Your doctors are there. If you are someone who's really who really needs help in terms of financially, I mean, you do not have a place to stay. Yeah, very very difficult situation. Probably ChildHaus can help, no? And of course, yeah, when it comes to health naman, because I'll be speaking in the position of a doctor, no? So in terms of the diet, especially the diet, no, be very careful, because if you continue on feeding the patient foods that can stimulate cancer growth, then it would just counteract the effect of the treatment. Or if the treatment is successful, the risk of recurrence would still be very high. So it can be very frustrating if you have already won the battle for against cancer, no, you're in remission, then suddenly 6 months later, a year later, recurrence happens, no. It can be quite devastating. Okay?
Yes.
So, yeah, and of course, lastly, stay positive. I mean, we only live once. Well, this goes to, I mean, not just cancer patients, I guess for each and every one of us, no? We have a very short life here on Earth, so yeah, as much as possible, let's enjoy life. Let's be positive, even if we are facing a lot of challenges. Okay? We just have to see the other side of another perspective, or another side of the coin. Okay? So yeah, I guess that would be for me.
Thank you, Doc. I can totally relate. Like I said, this topic is very close to my heart, and all the things that you have said, I totally agree, because it really doesn't just boil down to the physical aspect of the battle, but also including spiritual, very much about spiritual as well, and emotional, and of course your relationship with the people around you. So we are here to help you here in Simply Nature, and as well in ChildHaus as well. So of course, before we say goodbye, I just want to invite everybody once again. Next Thursday, we will have another webinar entitled 3 Rules to Prevent Cancer in Your 30s and 40s. Oh yeah, because Doc, these are the common years or ages where people get diagnosed with cancer, correct?
Yeah. Actually, not really. 30s and 40s is still quite young, but we tend to have an increase of cancer incidence in this age group already. So it's a very important webinar.
I hope that's right, and we really hope to see you all once again. Please share our please share our webinars to your friends and to patients in your hospitals as well. So thank you so much for joining us once again. Miss Jeannette, once again, thank you so much for gracing this webinar with your presence. And of course, Dr. Jansen, thank you for answering our questions tonight. We really hope to see you once again in our next webinars to come next Thursday, because here in Simply Nature, we are always with you from start to healing. Thank you, everybody. Good night, and God bless you all.